The top stories tonight in Y News. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. seeks to revive the Philippine Sugar Corporation, or PhilSucor, to boost the industry.
The Department of Justice maintains its position that information over the return of suspended Negros Oriental 3rd District Representative Arnolfo Teves Jr. to the country is valid.
The Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines completes the corrective maintenance activity for the upgrade of the uninterruptible power supply of its air traffic management center.
And Taiwan's parliament speaker hails Japan, South Korea, and the Philippines as they all help creating a crescent of defense against China's military activities.
Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Wednesday, the 17th of May, 2023. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. I am William Theo.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media channels. I am Harleen Delgado.
First in the news. The Department of Justice maintains its position that information over the return of suspended Negros Oriental 3rd District Representative Arnolfo Teves Jr. to the country is valid. Meanwhile, the National Bureau of Investigation filed criminal complaints against the legislator today. Dante Amento tells us why.
Department of Justice or DOJ Secretary Crispin Boyeng Remulla stresses they know the movement of suspended Negros Oriental 3rd District Representative Arnie Teves. They have sources of information indicating that he will return to the country. Teves allegedly has a ticket back to the country.
Ang alam kasi namin, ticketed na siya. Ticketed na siya. Something we know, basta we have sources who tell us these movements, we will not release it if we didn't have any reasonable ground to believe that something is going to happen or something may happen. And it's just part of it. We have our sources to tell us what the facts are.
This is Remulla's reaction to Teves' pronouncement that the DOJ's chief's announcement about his return was fake news. Congressman Teves' legal counsel, Attorney Ferdinand Topacio, meanwhile said that Secretary Remulla's announcement without verification is the height of irresponsibility. Remulla added that if Teves does not return and face the complaints against him, it only shows that he is guilty.
Well, flight is an indication of guilt. By any language, by any test, by any jurisdiction, by any legal system, flight is an indication of guilt.
Early this morning, the National Bureau of Investigation, or NBI, formally filed criminal complaints against Teves over the killing of Governor Ruel Digamo and some other civilians. The charges include multiple murder, frustrated murder, and attempted murder. If the legislator fails to answer the complaints, this will be immediately ruled upon by the panel of prosecutors and elevated to the court.
Saserve pa niya sa PINA, diba? Sa PINA. Tapos, mapafile ng counter affidavit. Pero pag nakita wala talaga siya, hindi talaga uuwi, hindi naman pwede in absentia i-file yan eh. He has to personally appear to swear by the contents of his counter affidavit.
Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Suspended Negros Oriental 3rd District Representative Arnolfo Teves Jr. has not been in communication with Congress, according to House Secretary General Reginald Velasco. They have no information regarding the alleged return of the legislator to the country today. Even his brother, former Governor Pride Henry Teves, is also unaware of his plan to come home. However, the lower house is prepared to provide protection to Congressman Teves Jr. if he returns to the country and goes to Congress as previously guaranteed by House Speaker Martin Romualdez.
Yun nga wala kaming confirmation na, I mean, it has to come from him, no? or his representative. In this case, yung attorney Topacio, di ba? But so far, up to this time, wala kaming na-receive na confirmation that he is really arriving or returning today. In fact, he is willing to provide security and other arrangements to Congressman Teves, no? Just like any House member. He will be under our protection pagka bumalik siya at dito nagpunta sa House of Representatives.
The Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines has completed the corrective maintenance activity for the upgrade of the uninterruptible power supply of its air traffic management center. CAAP stated that there were no disruptions to the airspace system during the maintenance operation period. Gladys Tawabi will tell us why.
The corrective maintenance activity at the Air Traffic Management Center, or ATMC, was successfully accomplished ahead of schedule, according to the Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines, or CAAP. According to Captain Edgardo Diaz, Deputy Director General of CAAP, the maintenance operations was scheduled from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. today, but the CAAP maintenance team completed it in just 35 minutes. Diaz mentioned that the work did not affect the Philippine airspace system.
Okay na, tapos na yung transfer namin ng power, so wala naman nangyaring untoward. So everything went on as planned.
CAAP conducts maintenance activities to upgrade the air traffic management system in the country. Diaz said they have replaced 2 uninterruptible power supplies for improved efficiency. The 2 ops units replaced the old ops units that experienced glitches or power outages on January 1 of this year.
Brand new po yan. Ang long term po yan, no? At ang model po na ito ay modular na kapag nasira po isang component, hindi po magbe-breakdown ang ating power supply or wala pong disruption. Pwede pong gawin yung certain module lang na kailangan gawin. Pagbago po ang UPS natin, naturally, mas reliable po yan. Mas maganda po actually ang performance itong kinuwang bagong UPS to replace our aging UPS. So it is an upgrade of the system po. So with that, mas ma-assure po natin ang safety ng ating airspace, ng ating operation.
Meanwhile, according to the Manila International Airport Authority, or MIAA, the maintenance conducted early this morning had no impact on flight operations. CAAP stated that flight operations at the airports in the country resumed without any disruptions. However, in case of possible disruptions in the upgraded ops, the automatic voltage regulator, or AVR, and another standby ops are still prepared as contingency measures for any problems.
Pagdating ng mga daytime yan, marami ng load magagamit. Dito lang sa mga offices, mag-on yan ng mga aircon, mag-on ng mga ilaw. So, titingnan namin kung anong epekto. Mga fluctuations lang naman yun, pero in place naman yung AVR, yung automatic voltage regulator, at saka yung ating UPS nga. So more or less protected naman. Pero siyempre, titingnan natin, bago yan eh. Baka mamaya merong mga unusual na behavior yan. So binabantayan.
Gladys Tawabi, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. holds consultative meeting with sugar industry stakeholders. The meeting in Malacanang focused on concerns and measures to boost the country's sugar production. Nel Maribohok reports.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. wants to revive the Philippine Sugar Corporation, or PhilSucor. According to the President, this is one of the suggestions that came up during his meeting with the sugar industry stakeholders.
Ngayon, hindi masyado silang nakakapagtrabaho dahil they tried to abolish the PhilSucor in 2019, I think. Ngunit hindi na-abolish, nandiyan pa sila. Kaya bubuhayin natin at babaguhin natin, titignan natin kung ano yung mga pagbabago para makapag-adjust tayo dito sa sitwasyon natin ngayon. and they will continue their work in providing assistance sa ating mga farmers, sa ating mga farmers groups.
PhilSucor is a government-owned and controlled corporation that provides financing for farmers, especially for cooperatives and farmers association. On the other hand, the president said another issue discussed during the meeting was the importation schedule for approved importation of 150,000 metric tons of sugar and how to open up the importation to all traders.
We agreed on an importation schedule and how we will open up the importation to all of the traders. Bahala na sila mag-bid o magbigay ng kanilang mga proposal. At yun ang malaking pinagbago natin. Mag-i-import pa rin tayo.
The attendees in the said meeting include representatives from the small sugar farmers and block farmers, beneficiaries from the indigenous people, United Sugar Producers Federation, Luzon Federation of Sugar Producers, Kabankalan Ilog Planters Association, millers and domestic traders. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
For news abroad, CEO of Tesla Incorporated Elon Musk issued a warning that the manufacturer of electric vehicles was not immune to the global economy. Ryuji Sasaki explains why live. Go ahead, Ryuji.
Good evening, Marielle. Tesla missed its margin target in this year's first quarter after aggressively cutting vehicle prices amidst a slowing economy and increased competition. The stock has dropped about 60% from its record high in November 2021. Elon Musk said the company would try to advertise its vehicles, something it has never done before. He further explained that the next 12 months would be challenging at a macroeconomic level. According to Musk, Tesla would likely produce 250,000 Cybertrucks a year and is hopeful to the EV maker will start the production of its long-delayed next-generation Roadster electric sports car next year. Meanwhile, investors claims that the board failed to ensure that the CEO would focus on Tesla after buying Twitter for $44 billion in October 2022. In a response, Musk said that Twitter is now in a stable place and the amount of time that Twitter will take to go forward is relatively small compared to the last 6 months. Marielle?
Thank you, Ryuji Sasaki, for that live report. Taiwan's parliament speaker hailed Japan, South Korea, and the Philippines as they all help creating a crescent of defense against China's ambitions. China's military activities around Taiwan has been increasing as China tries to force Taiwan to accept Beijing's jurisdiction. In response to China's jurisdiction, Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida and South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol opposed the changes proposed to be done by force and said that this should be considered a global issue. Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. also stated that granting access for the United States to the country's military bases also becomes a defensive measure and is foreseen to be useful if China attacks Taiwan. To these statements, Parliament Speaker Yu Si-kun praised the three countries and has stressed that ensuring Taiwan's security is to also ensure the global public interest. Meanwhile, United States Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said on Tuesday, May 16, that the U.S. will soon provide significant additional security assistance to Taiwan. We'll share more global stories with you later, but for now, back to you, Harleen.
Thank you, Marielle. For those watching our live streaming on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook. Amid talks of possible takeover of the government, the National Transmission Corporation or Transco expressed readiness should they become the country's power grid operator once more. This report will tell us why. The National Transmission Corporation, or Transco, is ready to assume the operations of the country's power transmission system. This, as the palace said, that the Philippine government may take back control of the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines, or NGCP, if necessary. Senators earlier expressed concern that the 40% ownership of the State Grid Corporation of China in NGCP poses threat to the country's national security. Transco says it is included in their concessionaire agreement the aspects of the transmission business should the grid operation be back under their helm.
Ready naman ho kami, and in fact the DOE has already mandated yung SIGSO, so parang yung small grid system operation, so isa din yun na parang training ulit namin to eventually take over then the system operation, for example.
In today's hearing of the Senate Committee on Energy, senators questioned the NGCP on several issues, including the potential national security threat. The panel's chairperson, Senator Raffy Tulfo, claims he has information from the intelligence community that China could remotely access the country's electric grid. The NGCP denies this.
It was then National Security Administrator Esperon who himself went to our head office as well as the regional offices to inspect with regard to the report at that time that there was a remote control that can be accessed by China. I'm not at liberty to disclose the findings.
Pero hindi siya pumunta sa State Grid of China, right? Pumunta ba? Oh. So hindi niyo masasabi na wala silang remote access kasi ang pinuntahan lang planta niyo, of course, lilinisin yung planta. And then yung naging result ng pag-visit nila, and mismo si General Esperon nagsabi may vulnerability na ibig sabihin na possible na pwede tayong ma-access yung ating national grid na pwede tayong masabotahe.
There's no such thing as 100% invulnerable cybersecurity system or system for that matter.
Senators also grilled the NGCP about the delays in some of its transmission projects, including connecting Occidental Mindoro to the main grid. The Department of Energy confirms that at least 3 projects have been delayed for almost 3 years. The Mindanao-Visayas Interconnection Project, Bataan-Hermosa Line, and the Cebu-Negros-Panay connection. The NGCP admits delays in projects, citing right-of-way issues and the effects of COVID-19 pandemic.
Nangyari kasi, binabarat nyo raw po. Siyempre, sino ba naman papayag may-ari ng lupa na ibibenta sa inyo at a lower market price? Parating sa akin na 95% ng kita po ng NGCP na pupunta po sa dividendo and only 5% ang nire-reinvest sa development. What the F?
Actually, we don't have an exact figure on, we don't have that information.
And if you don't have, can you provide us? Can you provide this committee?
We will provide, Mr. Chairman.
Yes. At yung perang na pinaghati-hatiin yun ng mga shareholders and karamihan dyan, napupunta lang doon sa ibang bansa.
Tulfo says he has recommended to President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. to review the franchise of NGCP for its possible revocation and transfer of the country's grid operations to Transco. Harleen Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
An association of driving schools is planning to ask the Land Transportation Office, or LTO, to reconsider their appeal to the prescribed maximum fee for driving courses after a month of its implementation. JP Nunez will tell us why.
The Association of Accredited Driving Schools of the Philippines Incorporated, or ADSP, stated that their affiliated driving school members are struggling with the maximum prescribed fee for theoretical and practical driving courses. The Land Transportation Office, or LTO, implemented the price ceiling for Theoretical Driving Course, or TDC, and Practical Driving Course, or PDC, on April 15 of this year. ADSP President Marie-France Gavino Ochoco mentioned that some branches of driving schools were compelled to cease their business operations as they couldn't cover their operational expenses.
Kunwari po ang isang branch nila ay hindi naman po gaanong flourishing or mataas ang kita. So nagdesisyon na po sila na isarado na lamang po. So ganun din po yung ibang driving school sa ngayon, tinatapos na lang po yung kontrata ng iba nilang mga nirerentahan na branches.
ADSP now plans to request the LTO to reconsider the price cap in order to support the sustainability of driving schools and ensure the production of quality and well-educated students.
Hihingi po kami ng reconsideration. Hopefully po this month kasi medyo kailangan na rin po talaga namin ng tulong ng LTO. Kung mag-ilang buwan pa po ang tatagal, hindi na po namin kakayanin.
Among their requests to the LTO is the allowance to offer premium packages that may cost more than the LTO's prescribed price. The LTO has previously expressed their openness to discussions if private driving institutions have complaints or suggestions regarding the policy. However, the department emphasized the need to impose a price ceiling after receiving public grievances regarding the exorbitant pricing of TDC and PDC, which are prerequisites for obtaining a driver's license. JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
A farmers group warns that prices of rice may further increase in the coming months. But the Department of Agriculture believes that rice prices will become stable until the year end. Ray Pelayo will tell us why.
The country has already imported 1.3 million metric tons as of May 4 based on the record of the Bureau of Plant Industry or BPI. Local production has also increased by a little over 5% in the first quarter of the year compared to the same period of 2022. However, these figures are not yet enough to fill the 60-day buffer stock of the country until the end of June. Leonardo Montemayor, the chairperson of the Federation of Free Farmers, stated that around 800,000 metric tons are still needed. Without intervention, the price may rise again. Montemayor noted that from January to April this year, the price of imported rice has already increased by 5 pesos per kilogram.
It may drive up at the speculation. Magmahal na kasi tigas. And then with this looming El Nino, maraming mga bansa ngayon ang naghahabol din ng supply from abroad. So it adds to the overall demand. Taking that into consideration, ang tendency will be higher prices of rice.
Montemayor clarified that they do not encourage importation, but it should be done during lean months to benefit both farmers and consumers.
Kung nagkamali na naman at naging huli, yung desisyon ng gobyerno natin, tapos umangkat ang gobyerno, nasabay sa harvest time, kawawa din ng farmers natin.
Last Friday, Agriculture Undersecretary Leocadio Sebastian said in a press briefing at the palace that the price of imported rice has indeed increased. The official also noted that the high price of production inputs for local production has resulted in the increase in market price.
So kung meron man increase, hindi yan masyadong tataas yan kasi yung imported at saka yung local ay nagko-compete din sa presyo. So yung nakikita natin, makita nyo yung presyo ng bigas nitong nakarambon na halos flat na ulit siya. Tumaas but then nag-flatten na naman. So we expect that to continue in the rest of the year.
Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Singapore and South Africa have recently signed key agreements aiming to strengthen knowledge exchange, expertise sharing, and digital capabilities between the two nations. Joselito Liquido will tell us the details live. Good evening, Joselito.
Good evening, Marielle. Singapore and South Africa have solidified their collaborations in the fields of information and communications technology and skills development through the signing of memorandums of understanding. The MOUs aim to promote cooperation by facilitating the exchange of best practices and expanding collaborations in both existing and emerging areas of ICT, and to enhance the partnership between Singapore and South Africa in areas such as governance and education. The signing of the agreements took place in Cape Town, South Africa, with the presence of Singapore's Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong and South African President Cyril Ramaphosa. Prime Minister Lee highlighted the significant growth in bilateral trade and investments between the two countries, noting that Singaporean businesses have established a strong presence in various sectors in South Africa, including agribusiness, urban solutions, hospitality, and manufacturing. A business delegation consisting of 17 Singaporean firms accompanied Prime Minister Lee to South Africa to further explore potential partnerships and discuss opportunities in the country. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Lee invited President Ramaphosa to visit Singapore once again, building upon his previous visit in 2016 when he served as Deputy President. Prime Minister Lee's visit to Africa will continue with a trip to Nairobi, Kenya, marking the conclusions of his 6-day journey on Friday. Back to you, Mariel.
Joselito Liquido for that live report. And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I am Mariela Toza reporting live from Perth, Australia. Good evening.
Our kasangbahay, as the world faces these trying times amid the pandemic caused by coronavirus, we are inviting everyone to join the global prayer for humanity from Monday to Friday, 9:30 p.m. Philippine time through the social media accounts of Members Church of God International.
And before we close, we will leave you with a word, giving glory to God. From the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, verse 20, it says, "For there is not a just man upon earth that doeth good and sinneth not." And those are the reasons behind the news, May 17, 2023. Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I am Harleen Delgado.
And because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am William Theo. We serve the people. We give glory to God.